May I welcome our first speaker, Andrew Murray from Unite the Union.
Thank you very much, Kate. It's an honour to bring you greetings today on behalf of Unite the Union, and to start by endorsing, in a sense, what Kate just said by condemning the horrific and brutal and unjustified murder of Alan Hemmings last night. This atrocity and the others that have been committed by ISIS are a condemnation of the barbarism. And the moral responsibility for that beheading, of course, rests with its perpetrators. But the rise of ISIS, its ability, its capacity to carry out these outrages, that is also the responsibility of those on the other side of the road who imposed sanctions on Iraq that killed 500,000 children as a price worth paying, who launched an illegal and unjustifiable war which killed 1 million and displaced 4 million, who have wrecked Iraq and turned it into a dysfunctional sectarian state. All the blood that is shed in the Middle East is on the hands of Downing Street and the White House, as well as of ISIS. And let us also be clear, this bombing campaign, the third Iraq war launched in the last generation, this will not displace ISIS. The only thing that can bring a solution to the crisis in Iraq and Syria are the peoples of the region themselves. The whole of our history shows there is no solution from bombing, there is no solution from war, and there is no solution from Western neo-colonial intervention in Iraq, Syria, or anywhere in the Middle East. Because this is now, we are told, ISIS is the problem that has to be solved. But let's remember, the British government intervened militarily against Nasserism, against Arab nationalism. It then supported Baathism, then intervened against Baathism. It supported Gaddafi, then intervened to overthrow Gaddafi. It has intervened against any and every sort of government in the region solely in its own interests. And ISIS is simply the latest pretext for imposing Western domination across the Middle East, and we must condemn it. And let's not be fooled by the allegation that this has Arab support. The regimes that are intervening in Syria and Iraq alongside Britain are not part of the solution in the region, they are part of the problem. The dictatorship in Bahrain, the dictatorship in the UAE and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, which carries out beheadings on its own on an industrial scale and pumps sectarian poison around the region. These are our allies and these are the problem. Because now, brothers and sisters, we embarked on an open-ended, endless war. There is already mission creep. There are already boots on the ground. There is already talk of a Turkish military invasion of the north of Syria, more than talk, preparation for it. This is a government which is waging war on the poor at home and now spending billions on war abroad. We need to say, stop the war! And the final point I want to make, brothers and sisters, is this. People are saying, and they will say, don't we in Britain have a moral responsibility to do something? Well, brothers and sisters, we in Britain have a moral responsibility for the partition of Palestine. We have a moral responsibility for the installation of the Shah in Iran. We have a moral responsibility for the series of wars and sanctions against Iraq. We have a moral responsibility for the destruction of Libya. We have a moral responsibility for pumping money and arms into the Syrian civil war. We have a moral responsibility for 100 years of calamity and catastrophe visited upon the Arab peoples. We now have a moral responsibility to stand aside and say the Arab people must control their own destiny. Stop the bombing.